Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Talent Finders would like to welcome coach, author, and speaker Natalie Spellman. So, welcome, Natalie.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on this show today.
So, Natalie, I'd like to congratulate you on all your achievements. Can you share with us how your entrepreneurial journey started?
Okay. So this journey started ever since I was a child. There was always something that was just different about me. I'm always dreaming. I'm seeing the world. I'm just envisioning just traveling and just doing something great.
Yeah.
So when I came home from the military, there was an opportunity to do network marketing. And I tried network marketing where I was traveling across the country, going to different meetings and doing different things like that. That was a short journey because I didn't do well at all doing network marketing because it was a phone company and I had to call my family members to switch their phones and to switch from their phone company to switch to something else. So most family members and friends did not want to do that. So that was a very short-lived career. Later on, I started doing Mary Kay, which didn't last long because that was not my passion to sew makeup. And
Yeah.
then later on, I just see like different stores, like I did Shopify where I was selling like stress management products. I have an interest in stress management, but the products on Shopify and getting products from China didn't quite work out. And it was just me constantly trying something new and something new to the point where it was like 2 years ago after I had a experience, had an encounter, and since then my life changed dramatically. And then since then my passion have changed, and now my focus and my vision and my entrepreneurship has totally changed. And now I have passion, have energy. I'm making a lot of sacrifice for this part of my journey, which we'll talk about more. But
Yes.
yeah, it's been a journey where I was just totally clueless in business. And now I'm just so passionate about the path I'm actually on at this point in my life.
That's amazing. So, you've had a diverse career as a trained clinician in occupational therapy, but also as a US combat Marine. So, can you share with our audience more about this and how this influenced your path to becoming a coach and a published author?
Okay. So
Mhm.
my path, I joined the United States Marine Corps back in 2000. And the reason why I decided to go to the military was just the fact that I was just living a life where I was just insecure. I had a lot self-confidence. I got into a big argument with my sister. And in that moment in our argument, I realized that, you know what, I just feel like so insecure. I didn't have the guts to stand up and to fight and just to be a voice. So I recognized that going to the hardest branch of the service, which is the United States Marine Corps, was the ultimate challenge. It was something I needed to do to prove to my family that I was tough, I was strong. And I did that. And it was a challenge. It was a challenge. I was the underdog. And throughout my entire military career, it was just amazing to see how I was such a woman with low self-esteem to the point I was just vibrant. I was confident. I knew what I was doing. I was getting awards. And it was a prominent career. And when I came back home, when I went to Iraq and I came back home, I had survivor guilt where I recognized I was coming home, I
Yes.
thought in one piece. But of course,
Yes.
mentally, there was a lot of issues in that area. But when
Yeah.
I came back home, I recognized that most of my buddies weren't the same. So I knew in occupational therapy that we treat the entire person. We treat the mind, the body, the spirit. We treat the entire person. So as an occupational therapist, I recognized that that was my calling. I can actually make a difference. I just don't want to treat just one aspect. I want to treat the whole person. So it's
Yes.
so amazing that I was able to do that, go to occupational therapy school, and now I'm actually working with veterans. So it's such a unique combination being military, and I work with the military population, and we just immediately build connections and build rapport because I speak their language, and I'm also
Yeah.
providing with that therapeutic benefit. So it's amazing how that's now
Absolutely.
translated into coaching.
Yeah, and also because you've been there yourself, so It always
Exactly.
makes a massive difference. So, what
Yes.
would you say some of your biggest lessons within your career have been? And you've probably had multiple, but is there one that particularly stands out for you?
Yes. So many. One I want to mention briefly is whenever there's an opportunity, it's always great to seize that moment because that opportunity may never come back again. So it's always great to seize that moment, that opportunity.
Yes.
And another thing, lesson I've learned is that we're all unique in our own way, and we're so full of potential. And sometimes when we stay in a state of stagnancy or mediocrity, we're not able to tap into the true essence of who we are and the fullness of what we can be. So when you realize that there's greatness within you and you can actually activate that into real potential and just to be the best version of yourself, I think those are lessons I think each person in our society needs to know that, you know what, there's more to you than the eyes can see. So you just need to tap into all that greatness, then you'll be amazed what will actually come out of you. So I think that's a great lesson I think people would appreciate.
Yeah, wonderful. So, I want to talk about leadership or the lack of leadership from both a global and entrepreneurial perspective. So, what do you believe needs to change? And what do you believe makes your leadership style different? And can you give us any examples?
That is a great question. And I find myself getting into major discussions around this.
Yes,
I'm coming from
especially
a
currently. Yeah.
exactly. And I want to mention a few things here. I'm coming from a military background where I know where strong leadership is. When I know
Yes.
these men say we're going into battle, I have to trust your leadership because I know they're skilled, they're trained, and they're willing to go on the front line with me if needed. So these are
Yes.
powerful men with strong leadership. They have a purpose, they have a mission, and it's not them just talking, they're actually leading in that direction. So when I
Yes.
think of that, I think of true leadership. And also think of that movie. It's called A Few Good Men, another
Yes.
military
A
movie
great
again.
movie.
It's a great movie. It's a
Yeah.
great movie. So it goes back to people who are willing to stand true for a cause, stand true for a purpose, to stand true for something, be authentic, be something, stand for something. And just to flip flop each day, I feel like that's not leadership. You cannot be flippant each day. You have to
No.
stand for something. And I think in our community, especially in politics, I just feel as if I'm looking for a few good men who are willing to
Yes.
stand and stay the course and just be that light, be stand tall. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you have been through your own stress journey. Could you share with us more about this and how through your own personal journey led you into coaching and expanding into a published author? And your focus has been on the stress journey. So can you please elaborate on that?
Oh, definitely. One thing I kind of did not quite mention is that I actually served in Iraq in 2004.
Wow.
Yes, so I was actually in a war zone, and I came back home. I thought I was okay. You know, you because as a female Marine, we tell
Yes.
ourselves that we are strong, we are okay, we're invincible, we're strong, we're the United States Marine. So whenever
Yes.
we sense that we are breaking, we don't appreciate weakness. So if we're hurting or if we're in pain, we're not going to say anything about that. We have to prove that we're invincible. So when I
Yes.
came back home from Iraq, I was actually dealing with PTSD. I was actually dealing with a lot of mental challenges, but on the surface, no one knew this. I was actually suffering in silence.
Yeah. And
And
PTSD is terrible. It's
it
terrible.
is horrible. And the reality is that our society does not understand civilians. Because, first of all, I came back home from Iraq around Thanksgiving.
Mm.
And I was in Iraq 2 weeks prior. And then I came back home from a war zone to an environment where no one understands who I am. What have I been through? I've been through trauma. So you're back home and people expect you to go back into the flow of things. And
Mm.
I had to pretend that I was okay, but I was actually struggling.
Yeah.
And
'Cause-
over time, you know, I got married, was having miscarriages nonstop. And I'm like, what's going on? And I
Mm,
realized that my body was in a state of stress. My body was not a habitat for carrying fetuses. It was just too stressed out.
yeah.
So I remember one day I stood in the bathroom mirror and I was just looking at myself, and I was just washing the makeup off my face. And I saw that I was a fake. I was faking life.
Mm,
People thought I was okay, but I wasn't. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm a Marine. I'm a therapist. I do this for a living. I'm okay. And I
mm.
ignored the signs that my body was actually telling me. And a few weeks later, I was in the hospital. My right side of my body was not working correctly. And it
Wow.
scared the life out of me. I was beyond scared because how can I be 35 years old, just had a newborn? No, she was like maybe two. And how can I be in a hospital? My body wasn't working correctly. And I
Yeah.
remember crying, and I remember people started praying. And miraculously that night, my function actually returned.
Wow.
And I was so amazed that how could that be? I work with patients who have these symptoms on a daily basis, and these people don't get miraculous healing. How on earth that happened to me? So I felt as if I have a second chance to life. And I just feel
Yes.
the need to give back. I'm on a mission. I have to tell the world, listen, stress is not good. It's not good. It's not good. You have to switch from that mode and be in freedom and live a life of freedom, of power and passion. And my message was just so embedded in my pain to the point where I
Yeah.
just feel like I cannot be quenched. I cannot be quiet because I'm alive and my
Yeah.
body's working.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's amazing. So, can you share with us more about your military experience and at what point did you decide to change direction?
Okay, so my military experience, it goes back to, like I mentioned before, I joined the military because I was trying to prove a point that I did not want to be the underdog anymore.
Yes.
And when I went to the military, it was such a challenge, but the challenge proved that I was able to be anything I wanted to be. I became a warrior. I became a hero. I became so many things that I could never have envisioned I would
Mm,
have become. And when I did the military, I realized that, you know what? The sky's the limit. I could take these skills, I could take it out as a civilian, and I could be a therapist, I could be a leader, I could take on any position because the skills you learn in the military, they're so foundational, and it
yes.
carries over into all different segments or
Yes.
sectors.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think when I came back home, I was just like, okay, this military woman on steroids, and she's going to be a therapist. And a therapist, she has to be calm, she has to be
Yeah.
clinical, she has to be centered and reassuring and empowering and kind. And yet I'm a strong warrior on the inside. So it's just a great combination where I can actually pivot between both military and clinical. And then coaching, of course, comes naturally because of both skill sets. So I think the military was pivotal in actually transforming me into the woman I am today.
Wow, that's amazing. So, I want to talk about you becoming a published author and the release of your new book. So, can you share with our audience more about the book and what you would like the audience to know about it? And what are some of the key points you want your readers to take away?
Okay. So the name of the book is called Drop Stress Like a Hot Potato. And I
I
use the
love it.
word hot.
Amazing title.
Yeah, I use the word hot because you know what? These are hot issues people are dealing with. There's a mental health crisis. It's a hot issue. It's a hot topic in our society right now. And I
Yeah,
just feel like, you know what? It's a crisis. Someone needs to do something.
absolutely.
Someone needs to do something about it.
Yeah,
And every time I hear a crisis is mentioned, whenever I hear there's a shooting or whenever there's something happening, there's this fire that just built inside of me where I say, you need to do something about it. You need to do something about it because you have the skill set. You have been down that path of PTSD, grief, everything you could think of, depression. I've been there. So you are a credible voice. And
yes.
then at the same time, too, I realized that I have the skill set as a therapist. So I need to bring all of that to the mass. I need to bring that to the public. So when I started the journey, it started off initially as a stress management book. But along the way, I realized that it had to change. There's so
Yes.
many things on the market about meditation. People talk a lot about stress. And I realized that's not my focus. That's not what I'm trying to do.
No.
Because what changed me was that when I found purpose and mission in my life, that is when my transformation actually started. So the question was this: how do I marry stress and purpose?
Yes.
And when you look at a flip coin, when you look at a coin, think about it. One side is stress, where you're just focused on the negative things in your life. You're focused on your pain. You focus on the challenge. You're just seeing the negative, the negative, the negative. But
Mm.
when you flip that coin over to purpose, you see the bigger picture. You've seen a life of impact. You've seen a life of change in the world. You see see it in a way where you're making a difference in the world. So when you're so focused on the bigger picture, your internal pain, your struggles is not in the grand scheme of things anymore. The focus changes.
Yes.
So I was like, oh my goodness, how do I marry the two? How do I marry both? And then the light bulb went off. I realized that I need to take people through a journey. And it's the journey is called life.
Yes.
We're trying to get out of stress city of brokenness, trauma, pain, and grief. But you're trying to get to freedom city. What is freedom city? You're living your best life. There's purpose, there's impact, there's joy, there's abundance. And it's like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So the entire book is a journey from a state of stress to a life of purpose and impact. And the challenge was this: how do I bring all of Natalie, the totality of Coach Nat, to the surface? And I
Yes.
was so excited because I realized, oh my goodness, I am military, I'm a clinician, I'm a coach, I'm a friend, I'm so many things in one. So
Yes.
throughout the entire book, I lace all of my personality, all of my skill sets in the book. And
Wow. Amazing.
yes, so there are sections where you're checking in with Coach Nat, where I'm being a clinician, I'm being a therapist. You're checking in with me, and you're going on the journey, and that's where I'm kind of giving you mental support, emotional support. I'm holding your hand, I'm guiding you through the journey. And there are points where I become Coach Nat, and I'm telling you the real talk. Listen,
Yes.
life is tough. You got to pick yourself up. It's okay. It hurts so much, but guess what? You got to charge forward. There's meaning to your life. There's purpose. And then there's
Mm.
points where I am drill instructor. Listen, I get into drill instructor mode. And there are times when you have a question, those heartfelt issues and questions you have. I spend the time to write like a letter, and I'll answer all your questions. And there are times
Wow.
when there's an emergency in your life and you're feeling sad, depressed, you're wounded. And I have
Yes.
a coach not on the go. So in an emergency
Yes.
situation, when you're feeling any negative emotion, I tell you this action steps, stop. And I tell you what you need to do. When you're in a moment where you want to be reactive, I kind of guide you through the journey. You need to be a stress detector. So the book is so laced with life skills and life coaching. It's just so jam-packed with every scenario. Let me not say every, most scenario you may experience in life is covered, is jam-packed, where as a coach, as a therapist, as a military woman, I'm giving you everything you need to succeed in your life. And
Wow,
there's
that's
nothing
amazing.
else on the market like that.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. So that
Yes.
also leads me into, obviously we've been through a pandemic. So how did this personally and professionally impact you? And are there tools you applied to your clients to assist them? And can you give us any examples?
Okay, so COVID, I work in a hospital setting. And
Yes.
because I work in a hospital setting, when COVID came about, when the world was shut down, I had to go to work. I had to
Yes.
work in a COVID environment. I had to be present. I mean, it's weird. I mean, I'm from New York. So we already
Yes.
know that New York was the epicenter for COVID. And it was one of those things where my husband and daughter stayed home. My husband did not want to leave the home. COVID affected him in a certain way, but yet I was the one going out into a COVID environment every day. So in a home environment, there were like conflicts and tensions because he was more fearful of COVID than I was, because like I said, I'm working in the environment every day. So I have to
Yes.
just brace myself, gear up and be ready.
Yes.
So there was a lot of tension with that. I remember my family members were sick with COVID. I had to bring stuff in a garbage bag. It was just, it felt so inhumane
Mm.
because the way we were treating our family, bringing food and leaving on the doorstep. My neighbors
Yeah,
across the
terrible.
way, yeah, my neighbors were like, people were dying around me and I couldn't go visit. I couldn't sit with them. I couldn't go to funerals. I couldn't go to the nursing homes. I couldn't do my normal routine of being myself and loving people and caring. I had to stay
Yes.
away. So I felt for me, it was very depressing. It was just, I felt so lost and broken and out of my element,
Mm.
but it was a good thing because
Yeah,
that's how I learned all my techniques. I learned all the things I've written in the book. And I've learned a technique called purposizing, which I'm so proud of because it is all about immersing yourself in a state of positivity despite the chaos, despite the panic, despite everything else around you. Putting yourself in a state of positivity actually decrease your stress and actually improve your mood and also improve your health and your well-being. So through COVID, I was able to discover that technique and apply it to myself and actually train a few people with that technique as well. And I could see that it has truly impacted and changed my own perspective and life as well. So
that's
can't wait to share it with the
amazing.
world.
Yeah. So what would you say some of your biggest or one of your biggest career highlights? So maybe you've had multiple, but is there one in particular that stands out for you?
When I was in the Marines, I earned two Navy achievement medals. And to earn two medals in the military, that's a big thing because
Yes.
that's it's a medal of excellence. And I didn't only get one, I got two. So
Wow.
that gave me the confidence that this young girl who was so insecure, had no self-esteem, was actually able to do something in the military that was worth acknowledging and actually getting awards for it. So I think those two awards really have set the stage for me to build a lot of confidence, and it was significant.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the next major accomplishment is, there are quite a few, but I think this one is worth mentioning, actually becoming an author.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
that is exciting because I remember as a kid, I thought I didn't have any talents. I thought I didn't have any skill sets. I just thought I was just like blah. There was nothing special about me. And I just realized people were like, what's your talent? I'm like, I don't have any talents. And over
Mm.
time, I had one issue. Whenever there was a story, I always feel the need that the story needed to be changed. I could not read a story as it is. I had to like embellish the story, make it more colorful. And I realized that now in my story writing, in my writing now, my colorful way of writing is actually coming out.
That's
So,
amazing.
so I think now I do have talent, and I realize that through my writing, I am seeing my creative side of me. I am seeing songwriting skills I never thought I had before. I am seeing coaching skills. There's so many elements about myself I am seeing coming to the forefront because of writing. And it's just amazing. It's just a great experience because in writing, I'm also providing therapy for myself. I'm
That's
providing therapy.
amazing.
Yes. Was in therapy, did okay, but I felt like I needed more. And I
Yes.
feel as if through writing, I'm actually getting the deeper healing that I needed, and it's actually therapeutic.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
So, do you believe that having had such a diverse career has given you an advantage in what you're currently doing? And if so, can you give us any examples?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, because like I said, the experience I bring in the book is that I bring all of that, meaning
Yes,
that like I said, I was in therapy for my trauma, all of that. But I felt like I needed more than just therapy. I felt like I needed everything. I needed a friend, I needed a mentor, I needed a coach. I needed someone to coach me through life, to coach me through my issues. So, based on everything I've been through, I was actually able to put all of that into a book, into an online program, into what I'm bringing out to the world. So, yes, to your question, I'm bringing all the highlights in my career everything, the whole of Coach Nat, the whole of Natalie Spellman, everything, every aspect of me, I'm bringing out to the forefront where I'm actually bringing myself to the world. And I want to mention this real quick. I came up with this concept where I want to do like a Coach Nat app, Coach Nat on the go app. And with
Oh, that
that
would be
app,
amazing.
yes. So I see all these people just not coping well. So if you have a Coach Nat app, because in my book, I give you motivation, I give you inspirational quotes, I give you super tips, I give you life coaching skills, I give you everything. If you're in a crisis, I tell you what to do. If you are grieving, I tell you what to do. So it's like, if I have a Coach Nat on the go app, right? When you feel like you need to do something that's a toxic behavior and do something destructive, you go on your app and like, okay, you put it in, you plug it in, and like, okay, what would Coach Nat, what would I do if I'm dealing with a breakup? And then Coach Nat on the app will tell you exactly what to do,
Yeah, that's amazing. That would be
right?
fantastic. Yeah.
Because in the book, it has all of that. So it's like, you know what? How could it be more on the go, more convenient? So it's like, you know what? I need to create a Coach Nat on the go app and tell you exactly what to do in any situation and
That
give you
would
some
be
inspiration,
amazing.
right? So,
Yeah.
see, all these ideas are just coming to me.
So with that, what would you say the three key pieces of advice you would give to other career specialists and entrepreneurs looking to pursue a similar career or to start their own business?
So, remember when I mentioned that I've started like multiple businesses before and nothing worked out? But for
Yes.
some reason, there's a new level of passion and zeal with what I'm doing right now. I think the challenge that most of us entrepreneurs do have is that we start a business just because we see that, oh, it's a quick way to make money, it's a quick way to do different things. But what I say is this: when you have a true passion and a vision for your life, it changes everything.
Yeah.
So instead of you having a business plan, why not have a vision plan? And it's based on, we all have a vision for our lives. We all have daydreams and we dream and we have all these passion. What if you were to do a business based on your true passions, based on you solving a problem that you are passionate about? Not because you see the ads on Facebook, not because you see all those different ads of making passive income. That's all great. You could make passive income.
Mm.
If you want to do a entrepreneurship where you make an impact and you enjoy what you're doing and there's true passion, you need to have a vision. Capture the vision. And when you capture that vision, you need to make your plans and your strategies and the business plans after you capture the vision. And I
Yes.
think that's a new approach. I don't think I've heard that anywhere else, but I think a vision plan is more crucial than a business plan. Should I go ahead and give you those three?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
The three things I would love entrepreneurs to know, or anyone in general, is to first recognize that you are unique and that your life has a lot of meaning and it has a lot of worth. When you realize that your self-worth and that there's so much to you, there's so much depth to you, you tend to see things differently. You tend
Yes.
to more live into your authentic self, and you wanted to live in the better version of yourself. So you got to first recognize that there's a lot of value to who you are. So that is number one. The second one I want to mention is that each one of us, we all have a purpose in our life. And
Yes.
each of our purposes may be different. Yours is different, mine is different. And we know that when we live in our purpose and we live life in a way that's meaningful, it's intentional, it's purpose driven, it brings such happiness and bliss in our lives. But if we live life where we're like, oh, experimenting, we're not quite sure, we're just all over the place, we're lost and we're just confused, life then is not meaningful. It becomes more chaotic. So if you find that meaning to your life, it changes the entire journey changes. And the last point I want to mention is that when we are determined to live your best life, and that best life, right,
Mm,
has to do with making an impact. I think sometimes as a society, we're more concerned about ourselves and trying to make me happy. But
mm,
what if you recognize that living your best life is not only loving and serving yourself, but living your best life also involves you touching and impacting someone else's life.
yes.
When you think about it, someone impacted your life so you could be the person you are right now. And
Yeah.
I do believe that there's someone in your future who is waiting for you, right? They're waiting for you to do you so that you can actually impact them. Because all our lives are connected, right? We're all connected.
Yes.
We're connected. So try to live an impactful life and you'll see the difference in terms of how you feel about yourself and life in general. It totally changes your perspective. So
That's
those are
amazing.
three strong lessons, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
the final question is, what legacy would you like to leave, or how would you like to be remembered? And if people would like to connect with you, what would be the best platforms to do so?
I love that question. I love that question because I have to really think hard about it. I remember as a little girl, it was just, there was always something just unique about me. I was always dreaming. Like most people are present in the moment, but
Yes,
I'm always daydreaming. I was always in the future, right? And I remember every time, ever since I was a child, I was always, every time I'm supposed to write an article or write something for school as a kid,
yes,
it always had these words. I want to make a positive impact in my global village. What? Why would I know to say that?
yeah,
I want to make a
exactly.
positive impact in my global village. So I remember writing like that as a kid, writing like that in high school. When I got into college, that same phrase always lingered.
Yes,
And it is so ironic now. I truly understand what that message truly means.
yes,
I realized that Natalie Spellman, Coach Nat, the author of Drop Stress Like a Hot Potato, is that I
mm,
am here to make a positive difference in my global village.
yeah,
When I
that's
think about
beautiful.
it, yeah, when I
Yeah,
think about it, whenever someone mentioned mental health, there's something within me that leaps. There's this fire that just ignites, and I just feel like I have to do something about it.
yes,
And I realized that I will, and I am doing something about it because I feel as if what we're doing in terms of mental health right now is not effective. It's a broken system. I work
yeah,
with veterans every single day, and they're not doing well. So I feel like with mental health, I do have strategies and techniques that will actually change the way we look and treat mental health. So I want to make a difference in that area as well.
amazing.
When it comes to our military, our society are very much unaware of the
Yeah,
challenges we face.
yeah,
I could be with you right now talking, and in a moment, something, a word that's being said or something may trigger a certain
yeah,
reaction.
yeah,
And sometimes our society aren't sensitive to that, where sometimes we're triggered easier than you think. Something that
yeah,
may bother you may not bother me. It's just one of those things. So
yeah.
I think our society needs to be more educated about veterans. And I just feel like I need to make a difference in the veteran community where
Mm,
I need to actually impact their lives and maybe help with change in laws and regulations regarding how our veterans are being treated and accepted, and just the whole aspect of the way veterans are assimilating back in society.
yes,
That's another big thing. And when it comes to millennials, I have a heart for millennials.
yes,
And the reason why my heart is for millennials is because I remember there was a point in my life where I was just so lost when I was in my 20s, 30s. I just felt so lost, displaced, disconnected.
yeah,
And if we look at our millennials right now, that is the same state they're in. They're just lost and confused, and they're trying different things, and they just need some guidance.
yeah.
So I feel the need that I need to get connected with millennials and actually let them realize that, listen, there's meaning, there's purpose, you are valuable, there you cannot be lost anymore. So I just feel like with that generation, I really need to make an impact with them. And
Amazing.
also anyone who just feels broken, I just want to make a
Make a
impact,
difference.
make a difference. There's so
Yeah,
much love people need. I just feel like Coach Nat could bring some love into their world, right? So
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us today. So, if people would like to connect with you, what are the best platforms to do so?
okay. My website, which is being revamped right now, it is www.natalieshan.com.
Okay.
I'll say it again, www.natalieshan.com. And also, I'm on Instagram as well. And I'm also on LinkedIn as well. And also, the book's name is so catchy. If you go
Yes.
online on Amazon and type in the word drop stress like a hot potato,
Amazing.
the book will come up. And that's a great way to get in touch. It has my information about speaking, information about coaching, has my coaching programs. Everything is actually in the book. So, Amazon, drop stress like a hot potato. And I think this book would actually change your life. So,
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And hopefully, we can have you back in the future to see where you are in your journey. And yeah, thanks so much for joining us.
oh, Karen, thank you so much. This was a great opportunity. Can I just leave one word of encouragement with your audience?
Sure.
Okay. So I just want you to recognize that, you know what? Your life is so special. Your life has such meaning and such worth. So I just want you to live each day as if you are ready to step into the path of your greatness. Because remember, there's greatness within you, and your greatness is ready to be unleashed. The key thing is that you need to first awaken it and then activate it. And when you unleash your greatness in this world, lives will be changed, and it will also bring you peace and happiness and actually a blissful and a fulfilling life. So walk in the path that will bring you much peace and happiness. All right. Coach Nat is
Wonderful.
out for now.
Thanks, Natalie, and it will be a pleasure to have you back.
All right. Thank you so much.